Algebra problem number 1. Solve the equation 1 over x squared plus 2x minus 1 all over x squared minus 1 is equal to 0. Meaning, we're going to solve for the values of x that will make this equation true. Alright? Okay. For the solution, first, we're going to find the domain of this equation or of this function. Okay. So, what do you mean by domain? Okay, a domain of a function is a set of all possible values for the function. The function should not be undefined. Okay, now possible values for x. But the question is, how can you say that this equation will be undefined? Okay, when the denominator is equal to 0. Okay, so given a fraction, um, when the denominator is equal to 0, that's undefined because any number divided by 0 is undefined. Okay? Now, we're going to look for the domain or the values of x that will make this equation true. Okay? What are the restricted values for x? Okay, so we call that domain. First, let's start with x squared. It should not be equal to 0. Because when x squared is 0, that's 1 over 0, that's undefined. So, we'll look for the value of x, meaning x should not equal to 0, or x not equal to 0. Because when x is 0, that's undefined. Second, x squared minus 1, we equate that not equal to 0. So, x squared minus 1 not equal to 0. We know that x squared minus 1 is factorable. So, what are the factors? All right. Quantity x plus 1 times quantity x minus 1 not equal to 0 will equate x plus 1 not equal to 0 and x minus 1 not equal to 0. So, we have x plus 1 not equal to 0. X therefore is not equal to negative 1. Okay. So, this is another restricted value. Next, x minus 1 not equal to 0. So, definitely x not equal to 1. Alright? So, meaning, x can assume any values except these numbers, 0, negative 1, and 1. Why? Because if the value of x is 0, this is undefined. When the value of x is negative 1, let's say for example, this is negative 1, of negative 1 squared, that's 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. So 2x minus 1 divided by 0 is undefined. I1 is 1. Let's say, for example, this is 1. 1 squared minus 1. 1 squared, that's 1. Minus 1, that's 0. So 2x minus 1 over 0 is undefined. So these are the restricted values. All right, let's go to the domain. So what is the domain? Therefore, the domain of this equation are all real numbers except negative 1, 0, and 1. Okay, so any values except negative 1, 0, and 1. Let's go back to the original equation because we want to solve for the value of x. Okay, so 1 over x squared plus 2x minus 1 all over x squared minus 1 is equal to 0. So all we have to do is to look for the least common denominator of our fractions, x squared, and x squared minus 1. Okay, so what should be the LCD? The product. Okay, the product of x squared and x squared minus 1. So we will multiply both sides of an equation by the LCD. So we have x squared, okay, times quantity x squared minus 1 quantity. And of course, we will multiply 0 by the LCD, which is x squared times x squared minus 1. Then perform the operation. Actually, we can cancel x squared and x squared, x squared and x squared. So we will multiply x squared minus 1 to 1. Okay? Plus x squared times x squared minus 1. You can cancel x squared minus 1. Cancel. cancel. So the remaining is x squared multiplied to 2x minus 1. 0, and I multiply this to this number because any number multiplied to 0 is equal to 0. So we have 1. Okay, x squared times 1. You cancel this. Okay, so that's 1 times x squared minus 1 plus, okay, you cancel x squared minus 1, this one, cancel. Then x squared, we have x squared times quantity x squared minus 1. So we have this 0, okay. Then after that, distribute 1 times x squared, okay. 1 times x squared is x squared. 1 times negative 1, that's negative 1, plus x squared times 2x, that's 2x cubed, minus x squared times negative 1, that's x squared is equal to 0. Then we'll combine like terms. But we have x squared minus x squared, that's 0. Okay, so the remaining is 2x cubed minus 1, that's equal to 0. Now we want to solve for the value of x, so we're going to add both sides of an equation by 1. So we have 2x cubed is equal to 1, all right? Okay, so in this case, we will divide both sides of an equation by 2 or multiplied by 1/2. Okay, so we have x cubed is equal to 1/2. So to solve for x, we're going to get the cube root of x cubed and cube root of 1/2. So that's equal to x, the cube root of 1/2. But the cube root of 1/2 is equal to the cube root of 1 over the cube root of 2. Okay? Now, x now is equal to the cube root of 1 over the cube root of 2. But we have a radical expression in the denominator. So we're going to rationalize by multiplying the numerator and denominator by the cube root of 2 squared. Okay. The cube root of 2 squared. Why the cube root of 2 squared? Because when you multiply the cube root of 2 and the cube root of 2 squared, that's the cube root of 8. And the cube root of 8 is equal to 2. Okay? So in that case, we don't have a radical expression in the denominator. So we will multiply the cube root of 1 times the cube root of 2 squared. That's 4. So that's equal to the cube root of 4. And this one, the cube root of 2 times the cube root of 2 squared, of course, the cube root of 2 raised to cube, no, or the cube root of 2 cube. This is equal to the cube root of 4 over the cube root of 2 cube, that's 8. The cube root of 8 is equal to 2. All right, so this is now the value of x. Okay. Now, since the cube root of 4 over 2 belongs to the domain, so therefore we can say that this is the solution. Okay, the solution is the solution for this, x is equal to the cube root of 4 over 2. All right, so any question? X now is equal to the cube root of 4 over 2. Okay, if you have questions, you can type in the comment below for clarifications. Thank you so much. Bye.